Comrades, thank you first of all for prioritising the election strategy, which I think is crucial given that they're only 5 months away. And that is the purpose of motion B. It recognises reality. The reality is that there is only one coalition that is going to be standing sufficient numbers of candidates to give a possibility of national media coverage. And that is TUSC. That was not the case when I've spoken before on attempts for left unity to get together with others on the left, including TUSC. Even as late as the September National Council meeting, that was not the case. But TUSC has now made that condition, that position, and this is a motion to attempt to try and get left unity to involve itself as much as it feels able to with TUSC and others on the left. Comrades, we agreed in March that there would be left unity with others on the left fighting the general election. There has only been one short 1-hour meeting in those 7 months between left unity and any others on the left. That was with TUSC, and it was a positive meeting, which the motion does go on to acknowledge. And it's important to acknowledge that because it shows what can be achieved if left unity and the rest of the left can get their act together in time to fight this general election, which we know will be the most important political election for many a long year. You don't need me to spell out why. Ken Loach himself told you why it was. I'm not going to reiterate all that. There are several parts to the motion. Read them carefully. There are fallback positions and ideal positions. My ideal position, I'll be quite honest with you, comrades, is that the left stands as one party. I've always thought that. I know in reality that ain't going to happen by May. But at least we could stand together cooperatively as much as we can. And that's what the resolution seeks to do. If left unity is prepared to swallow what is perhaps it's worried about in the past about what TUSC is, and I urge you to read the bulletin, the ISN bulletin that was given out yesterday and today that explains what TUSC is. It is not a creature of hate, it's part of the left. We should want to be part of it without giving up any aspect of left unity. That's what the motion allows. But it has fallback positions as well. It calls for a conference of the left to try and cement everything between now and the general election. And it's an inclusive motion in that it's a composite from many others. And I think that's important as well because it represents a wide spectrum of opinion across left unity. I move motion B, comrades.
Okay, can I see the mover of Amendment B1, please?
Our amendment from Stockport, 2 members of Stockport anyway, is basically to extend this to the Green Party as well as TUSC on the basis of having been sent a publication of the Greens, Democracy for Everyone, Green Party, blah, 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 a People's Constitutional Convention. The main points in summary of what they're calling for are greater powers for local and regional government, electoral reform, total recall for all elected politicians, local referenda and citizens' initiatives, replacing the House of Lords with a fully elected upper house, the extension of the right to vote to all 16-year-olds, and a written constitution. Now, as far as that is concerned, we're very much of the view that the decline in the legitimacy of what's called the democratic system in this country is capitalism's weak point. We have to go into any kind of election, not just talking about austerity and the economic crisis, but also having a very clear view on the political crisis and on the corruption and the undemocratic nature of the so-called system in which we live. And we need to be hitting them hard with some kind of alternative. Now, we may or may not be able to enter into some kind of alliance or what have you with the Greens. But we can try because as far as that is concerned, they are the only people at the moment who are actually talking about the political side of this as well as the economic side of the crisis. Capitalism is in crisis in terms of the political legitimacy of its political institutions. We need to respond to that because they are weak on that. And at the moment, It is the right who is managing to push that argument onto Europe and saying the democratic deficit is about the fact that we're in the European Union and our parliament is being overruled. It's not our parliament. It is not a representative institution. It is not anything which actually resembles democracy in any definition of the word anymore. If we did this, the advantages of it are, it would give us a distinctive view on the argument which is going to dominate the election about the European Union. It would give us a distinctive argument, a way of countering the English xenophobia, which is the response to the Scottish referendum and the events since the Scottish referendum. It would put flesh on our thinking about what socialist democracy can actually be. Not everybody will agree with that, but do go on the website. Do actually download the document, do read it. It is far, far to the left of most of the thinking on the Greens. We may not be able to work with Greens in some parts of the country because of the way their local Green Party is constituted, but in others we will, and we will be able to
Comrade, you need to stop now.
Okay.
Pete, Amendment B2.
Point of clarification first. This is a reference to deleting, I'm not quite sure the number in the paragraphs here, but it's a reference to deleting the whole paragraph from conference instructs the National Council, as well as the party's elected officers, down to 2015 elections. So I hope everybody's clear about that, because this began actually as an amendment arising from the Hackney South situation, in which we were supporting the paragraph towards the end, which Pete McLaren has accepted as part of this motion, about the proposal for the joint name. That we should actually work together as Left Unity - trade unions and socialists. That is now a serious option for us in Hackney South, because Terry Stewart, who is sitting over there, I do object, sorry, this is disrupting me. Pete, Phil, it's disrupting me, I want extra time. Thank you. Terry Stewart has been accepted as a TUSC candidate, but it will be a Left Unity run campaign with Left Unity materials if we can agree on having the joint name. That is very important for us in that very specific situation. At the same time, whilst I want us to go forward on what you might call a compromise position, whereby we are talking to TUSC, we are relating to TUSC, we allow local groups of Left Unity to make their own decisions on whether or not to stand as Left Unity, or whether to support a Green candidate like Caroline Lucas, or whether to support a Left Labour Party candidate or whatever. If we go down the route of joining TUSC as a coalition, we lose those options at a local level. It's not going to happen, to my mind, that we are going to be able to achieve anyway the sort of renegotiation of the conditions under which TUSC members are standing that Pete McLaren has envisaged in the past. It is too late for that. I was with Kate at the last discussion with TUSC, where Pete McLaren was also at, and Clive Heemskirk from the Socialist Party clearly indicated that that is not a very likely possibility. In other words, the other party elements inside TUSC are not going to accept changing the name or a new name for a coalition or whatever, which is quite understandable given the stage at which we are at. What matters about this amendment is we take out that, which basically ties us into endless discussions with TUSC and with the parties involved in TUSC, but we proceed at a local level on the basis that there are situations, the proposal originally came from Exeter, I understand, Dave Parks, there are people who want to stand as joint Left Unity, trade union and socialist candidates. That is a real runner. It will bring, in Hackney South, for example, a significant number of local trade unionists behind us. Please support that, but support also the deletion of the relevant paragraphs which get us repeating again and again the same arguments we've had in the past. Thank you.
Comrades, I've had a request for clarification on exactly what that amendment does. So on page 83, before I go on to the next one, it's deleting the paragraph. Pete, I hope you're listening so that I've got this right. It's deleting where it says conference instructs the National Council down to the end of that paragraph, which says beyond the 2015 election.
That is correct, and the opening three paragraphs
and the opening three paragraphs. His comrades
which go over the old debate.
You know.
Okay.
Right, thanks, Pete. In which case, We're on to the floor speakers now. As you may have noticed, we have a lot of people standing. Not everyone is going to be allowed to speak. So can I just clarify how many people who are here, and there is also Sean over here, want to speak now in the debate? Because let me be clear.